Hello there everyone, and welcome back to Napoleon Total War with a pike and shot mod. Last time around, we took over the Bohemian region by sieging Prague and taking that in quite the large battle. Since then, I've taken the time to reorganize a lot of my armies, and so therefore we have sped through quite a bit of time in between here, and also because the armies move rather slow across the landscape, meaning that I've spent about 15 turns to get to this point right here. So we've got Wallenstein right here, and he's almost got a full stack. We've got Pappenheim down here, which is a little bit more than a half stack. And then Tilly is on his way here with also a little bit more than a half stack on their way to Württemberg. I have sent the last general back to Vienna because we had about one turn of war with the Ottomans. They were actually joined in by the Principality of the Transylvanians. And since then, there has been quite a few Ottoman troops spotted along the border. So we are building a force just in case. Now, I wasn't sure if that was... It could have been that it was some sort of mistake about this war, or if it was just, like, to simulate the sort of border skirmishes in between us and the Ottomans. Because I'm not entirely sure if there was a war in 1620 with the Ottomans. I think that comes a little bit later, but we need to be ready in case they do come, because a lot of units take a lot of time to recruit. And that's also why I've started building a fort to aid us in the defense if the Ottomans decide to come. In terms of what I've been building, I know some like the that aspect of the game what I've been setting up. Mostly it's just building up on the stuff that's already there. So I haven't really been setting up any new types of building. We're building, of course, I already talked about the crop rotation. What you want to go with there. Like you can go down towards Great Estate, which gives unhappiness. It gives not as much growth, 400 in wealth and 16 per turn wealth in region plus 2 replenishment. And then we have crop rotation fields plus happiness. That's 0.4% extra in growth. Reduced chance of food shortage. I don't think this one does. No, it doesn't. And then it actually does the same amount of wealth in the region. The same amount of wealth gained, and then it does 5% instead of 2. So I don't really see why you would build towards great estates. I could see how they wanted to I kind of see how they wanted to frame it. The great estates would be, you know, like centralized, sort of from the top up, or like a nobleman running a big estate. While this would be more communal-led, maybe. I get sort of not flashback, but I get when in what's it called, Holy Grail, when he comes by and the peasants, oh, we're in a commune, we're in what's it called? An anarcho syndicate commune. We have a bi-weekly meeting to decide. No, I'm your king. You know what I mean, hopefully. But yeah, the community fields going down to the anarchist communist commune instead of the watery tarts is obviously the way to go there. We do also have wine estates, which it doesn't give the replenishment though, and I think replenishment's going to be very important. Supply warehouse gives tons of replenishment. We might be building some in some provinces, but the thing is, I doubt there's going to be so much war in one specific area. that we would need it, but 22% is kind of insane. However, 1% to all provinces would be rather nice. So if we have an excess province somewhere where we could build up one of these, just to get that extra percent in all provinces would be pretty nice. Steel furnitures for cannons. I mean, in some area, some specific area where we just get cannons could be good. Catholic Church. I guess to you know, change in certain areas. Banking house. Banking house. It does give more per turn than, say, the Great Estates, but it's I still or no, the crop rotation, but I still think this is the best building because you get 400 wealth, which is, you know, higher than this. You don't get as much per turn, but in exchange you get population growth and you get replenishment rate. Actually, you know, population growth doesn't mean that much. But happiness does. Happiness does. So that's kind of what we've been building towards. Markets over here. In terms of technology, I haven't been able to research that much. I managed to research this, the apostle flasks. So the apostle flasks is the pre-measured containers that they carry around themselves. So let's see if we can see a soldier here. We can cut. No, it doesn't. It doesn't show that closely. I'm sure. There we go. These, the apostle flask, and I think it is because they're called apostle flasks because usually they carried like is it the 12 apostles? 13? I'm not really have great understanding of Christian mythology, but I think it's like 12 or 13 of these pre-portioned gunpowder flasks then, and because they were carried 12, just like the apostles then. So that's why they call that apostles powder flask. It doesn't actually say anything about it, but it does give marksmanship and stuff like that. Currently we are going for some sort of market research leading up to merchant house. Should be good. Bonus tax income in region is really good, because anything that it will increase the tax rate means that we get a higher percentage of the total wealth in tax. So if this would have been 100%, then I would have gained 14,486 per turn, but now we are gaining 32%, 32%, so we gain 32% of this total wealth. We're actually, administration cost is the one that is reducing it by 4.3, which is kind of a lot. But I think once we get that merchant house up there, which is gonna then increase it, or, well, no, the technology is that for all regions, just overall. Yeah, I guess it's all. It's not just for the house. The house will just continue to accelerate our vast gain of wealth, which is insane. We have no negative here. Usually you at least have tax. So, like, that's skyrocketing tremendously. I don't know what we started with. It would be interesting if I actually kept a track on what we started with. If we started with like 3,000 or something and we're already up to 14,000, you know, I'm gaining at this rate. I'm gaining 1,000 in wealth every 3 turns, and then a third of that. Oh yeah, you can calculate it as every 3 turns I gain 365 more in tax. Pretty neat. We are not really building anything other. I do think that we need to keep an eye on the north, just in case. The Brandenburg and obviously the Swedes gonna be troublesome as they go in. Also, we have been aided by Spanish Habsburg, and so they have moved in and they've taken 2 of these areas. But just before this end turn, or I think maybe 2 or 3 turns, there was an event card that said that the Spanish were withdrawing, so there's not actually that many Spanish troops left here. I thought, since they were coming in and they were able to take these 2, I thought, oh, there must be massive Spanish armies here. There's very few Spanish troops, and it could easily be retaken by the Protestant forces, especially up here in the north, where Hanover has tons of troops, although it is actually the Duchy of Brunswick-Lundenberg, I mean. And then Landgrave Hessen-Kassel up here, mighty army as well. I was a little bit bummed because I was hoping I would try and get all of this. Also, a little bit worrying, there's a Dutch fleet here, because I have been building quite a bit on my trade fleet. So we have kind of an extensive trade network. The only other nation that is trading here, can you guess it? Do you want to guess who's here and trading in sugar? Guess the nation. It is Denmark, actually. Denmark is the only other nation that is trading. So I'm trading, what are we trading here? Sugar, tons of sugar from there. And here we got ivory. I've decided to focus in mostly on the safer ivory port. 105 ivory for a total of 5,670 over there. We got even more ships coming in. We got spice over there, so that's working really well for us. And we got another spice down here. So I'm bringing in a lot of trade. I'm actually bringing in 15,000 in trade here. So that's bringing up our cash quite a bit, and that's why also I'm able to field such a big army compared to what I think I would otherwise be able to do. Trade income here is on par with the tax revenue, actually. So we're making huge amounts of gain in terms of trade. I'm also trading with like everyone, and as my port has grown, we have started trading with the French, and obviously the bigger the country, the more money we make. So being able to trade with the Spanish, with the Polish, Lithuanian Commonwealth, the Ottoman Empire, and France brings in a lot of cash. But with that sort of out of the way, what we want to do is, the first step, of course, is taking Württemberg. There isn't that much of troops here. However, they will spawn quite a bit of troops in defense of their capital. I do hope that Pappenheim will be able to join in support here. It could be that we are able to hopefully be able to call on him. Although I think it might be unlikely, so we're gonna move here first and then go up, so we make sure that we get that support. And once that is done, we'll hopefully be able to move further north. There is, however, a fort there, so we might want to bring in more cannons. Or what we could do is we could bring all the cannons into one army. Currently, every army is carrying 2 18-pounders to bring to bear to the enemy. With that said, I'm going to try and avoid getting caught by the enemy without being able to call on support. So we're going to move like that. Also, we did, as you can see, suffered some attrition, and that is, I noticed, if you go into wooded areas, you actually suffer attrition. So you suffer attrition in among the trees. So you want to avoid those areas, which makes it a little bit harder if we want to support the Silesian region by going through here. If, you know, making sure that we can go over there in one go, and few other areas make it difficult to move through. I don't know, this doesn't actually cause any attrition, but there's certain areas where attrition is going to be a problem. With all of that said, we need to end turn so we can actually conduct our attack on Württemberg. They're currently not recruiting any troops, so that's good. And hopefully it stays that way. The Polish-Ottoman War has begun as a subject of Poland. Even before the Commonwealth with Lithuania, the region of yeah. There's a lot to be read here if you want to. Question is if we are going to interfere. I doubt it. We've got a scholar, he's pretty darn good. We put him in. We lost who did we start having here? Now I can't remember, I guess he died. So that really helps out with technology. There's quite a few that takes a lot of time to recruit or do. Wheelock, I'm not entirely sure this one's good. Like, look at the wealth loss. 10 per all regions. That's kind of a lot. Piped water supply. Could be good. Minus attrition. And we do get some buildings. Yes. Enough of that, though. We want war. Okay, so troops in Bohemia, a lot of these heavy pike units. The thing is, I started moving my armies before I was fully ready because I was hoping to actually make them into full stacks. So I started to move them before all my troops were ready. So we've got a lot of these heavy pike units that were supposed to join the force, but they're gonna have to come in late and join the fight. At this point, oh, Tilly is moving really slow, out of supplies. Quite badly. Building, we've got roads. I've been building up roads everywhere as much as I can. I guess I'm a little bit hampered by the fact that roads caused unhappiness in the last campaign we played for Empire 2, where they caused unhappiness. There was like a mental blockade, like a little bit to resentment to try and build roads, but that quickly, obviously I was able to overcome it, but there was a little bit like, that's going to cause unhappiness. No, it's not. No one's going to be unhappy about you fixing the potholes in the road. Rather the contrary. Right. We're going to lead with Wallenstein, since he's my most starred. My most starred general, yes. He's the best. He's the best on social media. Right. 4,000 men. We've got 3,000 in the first army, followed up by another 2,000. So the enemy will start with a slight advantage, and they will have those blasted mortars, which can do wonders on my numbers. But we'll see. I'm sure that we will be victorious, as we always are. So with that said, let's strike up the drum and march briskly towards our foes. Pretty odd startup, I must say, because we start in a town and the enemy starts outside it. What I want to do is I want to gain the ground right here. We can see leading up to the enemy. That is the ground we want to gain. There's no point in hiding behind the town. So we're going to gain this ground and we're going to kind of swing like that towards them. And with that said, let's go ahead and start. We got my formation, as we can see right here. Let's go ahead and group it. And then order them to advance. Should have probably told the cannons to advance first. We've got the general joining in, all the cavalry. So these two units right here are the two new units I've recruited, although we have seen them before. But they are now under command of another general, so they will be advancing there. We've got the Lancers be answered through the back there. And the Austrian cuirassiers, they should actually move over here and then towards setting up to aid the cannons. Got another general coming up here. One thing to keep in mind here for this campaign is I don't think I really realized the fact that I do think it is set as though you are not allowed to recruit your own generals. You only, like, the generals you start with, the generals you get. So losing a general is a mighty blow to your forces. There's quite a few enemies here. I'm hoping the mortar will be fighting at a range where the mortar is only firing round shot, not those explosive shots. And once we're actually ready to close the distance with the enemy, then we'll have a quick dash with the cavalry to destroy them, because the main enemy army is destroyed. Now the enemy army is... they've got more pikes than us, but I think we have so many gunners and so much cavalry that will hopefully just sweep everything of the enemy force away. I want to take the fight obviously up here. You know what, we're gonna break this formation right now, and I'm gonna hurry my gunners to the field. We're gonna get the pikes, and we're gonna get the 2 reserve gunners, and then the swordmen. Let's get the Harkebers cavalry setting up over there with the lancers supporting Wallenstein and Pappenheim, setting up down here. Gottfried Heinrich von Pappenheim. Right, the troops are on their way. The gunners, I'm not too concerned if they get tired, because they're not really supposed to be melee fighting anyways. It's probably more difficult for the pikemen. We have one pike unit there which is winded just from walking. However, they have been walking through a pretty thick wood. The enemy army is really close. I'm doubting whether or not I will be able to get my cannons into position. Also, enemy cavalry is closing in. I'll tell Pappenheim to speed it up a little bit so he's not caught out of line here. We'll speed up the cavalry, move into position quickly, and we'll tell them to hold fire and then fire as they get closer. So it's a lancer cavalry unit, heavy lancers, and they are conducting a charge. I'm hoping we're able to fire first. Oh, look at that, they are forming a wedge. We'll move the Harkebers to either side and then charge with our own lancers, so we can set up and shoot at them from either side. Okay, the enemy is marching across the field now. Our troops are just about to get into position. This one was the one that didn't fire. Ah, shit, well, we absolutely murdered the enemy cavalry, but I also murdered my own cavalry. Quite unfortunate. I wasn't sure if we were gonna be able to do quite a bit of team killing, but we did a lot. Oh, we're getting fired upon. It is their 18-pounder artillery. Let's see. Missing a pike unit? No. I'm feeling as though the pikes should be standing on this side, while the swords should end up over here.
So we were able to successfully break down the enemy's cavalry. That was like the massacre that took place there was insane, and I love it. Okay, our troops are getting into position. Since the cannons do have canister, what we can do is set the cannons for a fallback position in case first line falls apart. Okay, we've got militia regiment and provincial cavalry. Okay, the pikes will form squares, and these two gunner units will fall back. Mercenary musketeers charging in, and we got some other crap unit moving in. The pike squares should hopefully hold. Point blank range firing straight into each other. Massive casualties on both sides. Oh, the sword infantry, I need you over here, so do not... Oh, and here is the Austrian cuirassiers. Oh, now the pikemen are attacking. Swordmen hold them back, and then these two gunners will fall back. Actually, these two will fall back to the side. And then one of the units will pull back to behind this. Cannons deploy. In a prolonged firefight, the cavalry won't win. So we pull off and we try to charge them. You will charge from the side, breaking them up, making it so they won't fire. And as they're turning, these others will attack from the front. We've got pretty good area here to fire through, so you will advance. Oh shit, I have not told these to hold fire. Fire canister through there. The swordmen will hold for as long as they can. The cavalry will move around. Let's see if we can't fit both these units in here. So now these firing straight in there, that's good. The cavalry is completely overwhelming this side, that's good. You can pull back a little bit further. Our units of infantry is not doing too hot. I'm going to move closer so that the general can support. I don't think the canister is just outside of effective range, it seems. So why don't you fire round shot? The swordman here needs to pull back. And I think this one needs to pull back as well. Well, both sides pull off here. Good. This square in the center is not doing too well. It's heavily beset by enemy pikes. However, what I can do this one's also kind of heavily beset. But if I pull these back, put them in a square, or put them in a triangle like that, then I can have them pull back and the enemy run into this very deadly position that I've created for them. Both of you actually fire round shot. Let's see if we can get the pikes back here. And as they're pulling back, I don't want to shoot the unit to sunder, so we're gonna let it retreat quite a bit before we open fire. Oh, what's this? A Dutch formation of pikemen. Austrian cuirassiers set up to fire on them, and the gunners should pull back. No, I'm ordering you to leave that area. Fine. The enemy is getting too close. Open fire. I ordered you to leave, you dumb bastards. Finally, my cavalry was able to win that fight. I want them to ride up and fire at the enemy in the back. The pikes ran into the cavalry. Cavalry will retire in good order. The pike squares are holding. The enemy is getting pretty close here. I will pull this gunner unit back so that I can fire canister onwards towards the enemy over there. Cavalry move close up. Forget about the Dutch formation. It's time to destroy the enemy in the center. And I still have this sword unit. See if they can make it towards the center. Oh, some of the pikes pulled off to deal with my cavalry. Right, sweep down that unit away, and then you will strike towards the center. You know what? Both of these will pull back. The general should pull back, and then this unit will open fire. That should hopefully break them. I'm surprised the cavalry having as much trouble dealing with this. Run on into the enemy. You will pull off since the general is doing you quite the hurt. And it's time for the cannons to hold fire. Cavalry has joined in. I think it's only just to give my pikes a way out of that fight. Cavalry unit brought down as the enemy general sends them off the field. However, the second unit is able to produce quite a bit of fire and get out of there. Right. Hurry away, you stupid pikes, and then the cavalry will retire. Ah, the Dutch formation holds on quite well. Enemy general falls in the middle of battle. The enemy over here starts to fall apart. Oh. Reman the guns. Reman the guns. Charge the enemy unit over there. They're just kind of out of cannon range or canister range. So we will be content with firing round shot on them. With the enemy general gone, shooting quite a bit of our own troops over here. Friendly fire, I'm sure, is going to be quite high. Cavalry dash through and kill the enemy artillery. And same with you, you will dash through and kill them. The Dutch formation is still out there marching around. We're producing quite a bit of volume on fire on these bastards, but they still continue to fight. Well then, since you decide to stand right in the way of the Austrian cuirassier, then the Austrian cuirassier, oh, they made nice lines for the cavalry to ride through. Actually, don't charge a pike unit. Right, set up back here. And then fire upon them as they retreat. Brave but foolish. They're not going to do well, are they? Look at the casualties on these fields. Oh, this unit's still going. You get close enough for canister? No. The battle is won. I only need to get that mortar regiment. But once that is done, then we are victorious.
crushing blow has been brought upon our enemy. We lost 1,000 men. I thought we might lose more, actually. And the friendly fires weren't that bad. We killed a little over 175 of our own, if I calculated right. The enemy, of course, lost everything. Highest kills goes to a pike unit. I'm guessing... well, this one only lost 72 men. So I think it was the last pike unit. Or the one furthest to the left, actually. That was the one that lost the least men. Then we've got one Harquebus unit, managed to get 442 kill. Austrian Cuirassiers, Matchlock, and then Sword Fighters. And the list goes on. We've got a cannon down in the bottom that killed nothing. Oh, that's the reinforcement. This is the reinforcement army. No wonder they didn't kill anything. I was like, what? The cannon didn't kill anything? We've got one of the cannons here at 119, the other one at 58, so not that great. However, they weren't firing for that long, and we didn't get any devastating canister fired into the enemy. But there we have it. Now, I'm thinking we're going to need to take control of this, because we're going to need to resupply in case the enemy gets close. At the same time, I would like to, you know, keep the Holy Roman Empire intact by having, you know, all of these smaller vassal states around. But I mean, there's no negative side of not occupying it. So we're going to occupy it. But we might, in the future, go ahead and keep, or like, not keep states, but having a few, like, re-establish a few states, but as our vassals instead. There's no way to release states either, are there? But that would be the optimal, to like hold it just to make sure that I get like the best resupply rate, and then hand it back to the local cunts in some cases. Yes. With that said, I think this is it. For the next one, I should have set it up so we should be able to march across and get at the next one. The next one is going to have a little bit of a bigger hurdle. We have a fort, which we're going to have to break. There's quite a few of these heavy pike formations inside. You see the morale. Now I know why the units hold for so long. My units don't have 60, my units have 11. The enemy pike units have 60 morale. No wonder the units hold for so long. That's going to be an absolute slugfest trying to get through that. However, if we are able to... it's going to take forever though, but maybe I should get my own mortars or howitzers. If I'm able to fire explosive shots in through the walls, where they've got their troops tightly compacted, then we can make short work of the enemy. But now, with all of that said, it's time to end the episode. So I'll say as I always say, hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and hopefully I'll see you guys for the next one. Bye.